is the first of 6 events, all of which will be talking about China and its internal and foreign affairs. I'm going to start with the topic of Hong Kong, which is extremely topical at the moment. I'm sure you've all seen the massive media coverage of the protests, but I think some of us may have had some difficulties with understanding the deep-rooted causes of the protests and also what effects they'll have on future political reform in Hong Kong. So I'd like to introduce Roderic from Chatham House. He's developed really good expertise about Hong Kong and the People's Republic of China, notably working for the FCO and at the British Embassy in Beijing. Rod is here today to talk about the Occupy Central movement and to answer some of the questions we may have about the whole issue. So I'll hand over to Rod now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and please excuse me, I'm fighting a cough, so my voice will come and go. First of all, a short sort of declaration of interest and a bit of more of explanation of who I am. I spent 35 or so years working in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in part of it called the Research and Analysis Department, where my job was to try and understand and interpret China and the behaviour of the Chinese government for the policymakers in the British Foreign Office. I also spent, and as part of that, I spent about 10 years altogether in the British Embassy in Beijing, where I was responsible for reporting back to London, explaining to London what was going on in China's domestic politics. I was there in 85 to 88, and again 95 to 99, with shorter periods in the early 1980s, including when Mrs. Thatcher came to Beijing to launch the negotiations that led to the joint declaration. So I have been sort of part of the process of Britain's relationship with Hong Kong really throughout my career, and certainly in the latter part of my career I was one of the people who I guess paid more attention to Hong Kong and the complications of Hong Kong than many of my colleagues did, and I was the one that they would often go to try and find out what it was that we'd said to the Chinese and why we had said it and what we had agreed and what we had not. So that's where I'm coming from. You will want to sort of aim off in your understanding of what I'm saying because of that. What do I want to do today? 3 things, I think. Firstly, a bit of background on the latest constitutional crisis on Hong Kong. Secondly, a brief description of some of the key players and an assessment of what I think that they might be wanting. And then thirdly, some speculation about what might happen in the future. I'm going to be concentrating mainly on the politics of Hong Kong, the politics and